Right now, something extraordinary is happening. You are reading these words. You are aware of them. You are experiencing this moment. The light, the sounds around you, the feeling of being here. And according to physics, none of that should exist. The fact that you are conscious, that anything feels like anything at all, is the deepest unsolved mystery in all of science. Science has achieved extraordinary things. It has mapped the human genome, split the atom, detected gravitational waves from colliding black holes a billion light-years away, and built machines that can defeat any human at any game ever invented. But there is one question it cannot answer. Not because scientists haven't tried, not because the tools don't exist, but because the question itself may be unanswerable by any physical science we currently possess. The question is this: why is there something it is like to be you? Why, when light hits your retina and signals travel to your brain, do you not just process information in the dark, like a computer, but actually experience color, beauty, and meaning? This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness, and it may be the most important question ever asked. In 1994, philosopher David Chalmers stood up at a consciousness conference in Tucson, Arizona, and said something that changed the field forever. He distinguished between what he called the easy problems of consciousness and the hard problem. The easy problems, and Chalmers was careful to note they are not actually easy, are questions like: how does the brain process sensory information? How does it integrate data from different sources? How does it control behavior? These are difficult scientific questions, but they are in principle solvable. Given enough time and technology, we can imagine answering them. The hard problem is different. The hard problem asks, why does any of this processing feel like anything? When you see red, your brain processes a specific wavelength of light. That process can be mapped, measured, and explained. But why does red look the way it does? Why does it feel warm and vivid and intense, rather than simply being processed in silence, the way a thermostat processes temperature? That feeling, that inner quality of experience, is what philosophers call a qual. And qualia are utterly invisible to third-person science. You cannot measure them. You cannot observe them from the outside. You can only know them from the inside. This is the hard problem, and despite decades of effort, no one has solved it. The standard scientific assumption is that consciousness is produced by the brain. Neurons fire, signals travel, and somehow, through processes we don't yet fully understand, subjective experience emerges. This view is called physicalism, and it is the dominant position in neuroscience. But physicalism has a problem it cannot escape. No matter how precisely you map the brain, no matter how many neurons you identify, how many connections you trace, how many firing patterns you record, you are always describing physical processes, electrical signals, chemical gradients, patterns of activation. What you are never describing is the experience itself. Philosopher Joseph Levine called this the explanatory gap. Even if we had a complete map of every neuron in the human brain, even if we could predict every thought and feeling from the outside, we would still face the same question. Why does all of this physical activity feel like something from the inside? The map is not the territory. The description of experience is not the experience. And here is what makes this so unsettling. It is not merely a gap in our current knowledge. Many philosophers argue it is a gap that no amount of physical knowledge could ever close, because physical science, by its very nature, describes the world from the outside, and consciousness exists only from the inside. Faced with this problem, some of the world's most brilliant scientists and philosophers have proposed solutions that sound, at first, almost impossibly strange. The first is Panpsychism, the view that consciousness is not produced by brains, but is a fundamental feature of reality itself. Just as mass and charge are basic properties of matter, consciousness, in some primitive form, may be a basic property of everything. On this view, the brain does not create consciousness. It organizes and amplifies a form of awareness that was already present in the fabric of the universe. Electrons don't think, but they may have some infinitely primitive form of inner experience, a property that, when organized into the extraordinary complexity of a human brain, becomes the rich conscious experience you have right now. Panpsychism was long dismissed as mysticism, but it is now taken seriously by philosophers like David Chalmers and neuroscientists like Christoph Koch, because it is one of the few frameworks that actually addresses the hard problem rather than explaining it away. The second major alternative is quantum consciousness, the idea, proposed by physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, that consciousness arises from quantum processes in structures inside neurons called microtubules. On this view, consciousness is not classical computation. It is something stranger, deeper, and more fundamental, rooted in the quantum fabric of reality itself. So where does this leave us? With a mystery so deep that it challenges the foundations of everything we thought we knew about reality. If physicalism is true, if consciousness really is just brain activity, then we face the hard problem, and no one knows how to solve it. The explanatory gap remains wide open, and the most fundamental feature of your existence remains scientifically unexplained. If panpsychism is true, then consciousness is woven into the fabric of the universe itself, and the cosmos is, in some sense, aware. Every particle, every field, every quantum of energy carries some infinitesimal spark of inner experience. The universe is not a cold, dead mechanism. It is something stranger and more alive than we ever imagined. If quantum consciousness is true, then your mind is not a classical computer running on neurons. It is a quantum device, entangled with the deepest structure of reality, operating at the boundary between the possible and the actual. And if none of these theories is correct, if consciousness is something else entirely, something we have not yet conceived, then we are standing at the edge of a revolution in human understanding as profound as Copernicus, Newton, or Einstein. What you are, at this moment, reading these words and experiencing this thought, remains the greatest mystery in the universe. Not the black holes, not the Big Bang, not dark matter or dark energy. You have always been the most extraordinary thing in the known universe. Not because of what you can do, but because of what you are. A point in space and time where the universe became aware of itself. Physics cannot explain you. Neuroscience cannot fully account for you. No equation has ever captured what it feels like to be you. And yet here you are, conscious, wondering, experiencing every word of this. Consciousness is impossible. And yet here you are, experiencing, wondering, alive to the mystery of your own existence. Science has no answer. Philosophy has no consensus. And perhaps that uncertainty is the most honest thing we can say. If this video made you question the nature of your own mind, hit the like button. And if you want to keep exploring the deepest questions about reality, subscribe. Because next time, we go even deeper. Welcome to OMNIA.